Hey, I'm Hunt, and this is Hunt on LSU, your channel for LSU Fighting Tiger football talk. Enjoy the video. We want you to leave a comment below, hit that like button, and subscribe right below the video. Enjoy. There are some reasons for me to watch this bowl game, and they're young players. This has become a better version of the spring game, in my opinion. And you might roll your eyes at that. You might agree with me wholeheartedly. Doesn't really matter. We're on the same page. You want to get a huge crew together and crack open the Miller Lights at, 9 o'clock in the morning on New Year's Day and nurse that hangover and watch the Tigers play some football and yell and scream at the TV? I'm all for it, man. Start the new year. You're not working. LSU's playing. Get after it. But I'm not going to react to this game like I did the A&M game or the Alabama game or certainly the Florida State game. You can. I'm not. But I'm watching for a few things like I'd be watching the spring game for a few things. And it obviously starts with Garrett Nussmeier as I get into the reasons why I want to see this game. I don't think Jayden Daniels is playing in the bowl game. If Jayden Daniels comes out and says, hey, I got to put on the purple and gold one more time, I'm playing, awesome. Can't wait to watch. Wisconsin, you're going to lose by 20. But I don't think that's going to happen because first-round quarterbacks don't play in bowl games. Second-round quarterbacks don't play in bowl games. Aiden O'Connell didn't play in the bowl game last year, which would be funnier if he wasn't going to start this week. But that's where we are. So Garrett Nussmeier's action in this bowl game, I'm interested in. I want to see him go out there, run the show, and give me a reason when that game is over to think, we're going to whoop USC in Vegas next year. That's what I want to think coming out of that game. Oh, this guy's got it cooking. Remember Matt Flynn in the Miami game? Looked good. Now, he didn't play the next year. Jamarcus is back. But you could hearken back to that game as you got into 2007 when LSU was preseason number 1 and go, remember that Miami game? That was sick. And I kind of want to see that from Garrett Nussmeier in this game. You're going to have what I would imagine would be a pretty solid offensive line, maybe the whole unit that's been out there. And no matter who plays on the outside, you will have some weapons to go to. So I'd like to see Garrett Nussmeier have a really good day. They got him some reps against Purdue last year. I'd like to see a full game's worth in this. Because I'm just going to get out in front of this. Like, we'll sit here, as I said, it's the middle of December. I will probably be the guy on this station in July and August of next year that's telling you to kind of pump the brakes. That's probably going to be me. I'm not there yet, so we'll see. But I've got a feeling on how I'm wired. And I just watched the second greatest quarterback I've ever watched in LSU history play this year. And I just watched two guys that I think are going to be first-round picks in the NFL draft on the outside. And I'm not, in my opinion right now, going to be a guy in July and August next year that goes, man, you still got Nuss. He's a fourth-year guy. These guys are all 4- and 5-star receivers. You're not going to drop off that much on offense. I'm probably not going to say that. I'm probably going to go, you need to be prepared for some growing pains on this offense. That's probably where I'm going to be. So I hope Nuss can chip away at that a little bit on New Year's Day. Give me a reason to kind of turn the corner and go, this guy's got something. And the guy back there with him in the backfield, well, it could be Logan Diggs and certainly could be Josh Williams, and they may give Noah Cain some carries. I'd really like to see Caleb Jackson. I think y'all realize this, but we didn't see Caleb Jackson very much this year. He kind of showed that pop against Grambling with the 11 carries that he got and 62 yards, and he had the 121-yarder where he trucked the guy, and you were like, oh, that's a pretty talented dude. And then he got 5 more carries against Mississippi State, but he also had that kick return. And you were like, oh, this guy's really talented. And there's still a clip, a reel on Instagram that's me talking about Caleb Jackson looking at where in the calendar he would break out and become kind of the featured back on the team, like Fournette eventually did, like, Jeremy Hill eventually did, like Stephen Ritna, Kenny Hilliard did. I was going back through the true freshman running backs that found their way. Justin Vincent was in that conversation, and that never came to fruition. 2 carries against Arkansas, none against Auburn. They got in the ball against 2 carries against Arkansas, and then 2 against Army. He had none against Auburn, none against Bama, 4 against Florida, 4 against Georgia State, 1 against A&M. Like, you never saw him really break out. After the 62-yard Grambling game, his largest output in rushing yards was 23 yards against Georgia State. I'd love it if he got 15 carries on New Year's Day because I think he's got a chance to be great. We haven't seen anything like that since the 9th of September. I'd really enjoy that if we could see a lot of Caleb Jackson in the bowl game. And I don't think Jayden Daniels played, do not believe that Brian Thomas will play in this bowl game. And I think Malik Neighbors has got about 3 bubble screens in him. You got to get me these 22 yards I need to be the all-time leading receiver, and I'll go put my helmet on the bench and let the kids play. And that's perfectly fine. Give me 3 bubble screens, maybe a slip screen. We'll throw a hitch. Maybe if we get into 3rd and 14 because of a penalty, might throw a little slip screen there to see if we can't chew up 9 or 10 yards. And I think he sits down. But we didn't see these young wide receivers really at all this year. You look at the final numbers in receiving, Shelton Sampson doesn't show up. Jaylen Brown doesn't show up. Kyle Parker doesn't show up. Aaron Anderson, very little used. He had 12 catches. I mean, you saw Kamorian Pimpton make a catch. Shelton Sampson, none. So I'd love to see the next wave of wide receivers here. I think there's a good chance Kyron Lacey comes back and maybe Aaron Anderson's healthier next year. You go into the transfer portal, maybe you grab Xavier Thomas or Will Shepard, whoever the case may be. But you brought in some really talented receivers in this class, and they haven't played. There just hasn't been available time. Now there's available time. Wisconsin. Tampa. New Year's Day. Prime time. TV. Not prime time in the late hours, but that's when everybody's watching TV. I'd love to see the young kids get out there and make some catches. This is the bones of your offense next year. Nuss, Caleb Jackson, maybe Trey Holly, Shelton Sampson, Jaylen Brown, Kyle Parker. I'd love to see a little bit of that against Wisconsin. On the defensive side of the ball, you really just looked at Javian Toviano and Ashton Stamps after the bye week and said, boys, go get them. And now I think you're going to look at them in the Wisconsin game and say, boys, go get them. And we'll see what they can accomplish in the transfer portal. But there's a chance that as sophomores against Lincoln Riley's USC Trojans, you look at them and say, boys, go get them. Like, they might be your corners. We'll see. So I'd like to see those guys against a Wisconsin offense that's not very good. Maybe there's a little bit of a confidence building that can go on there. So it's not some sort of totally outside the box thought that, man, I'd like to see young players get ready for next year. But there are specific ones that I'm looking at. Yeah, I'd love to see Deshaun Womack have 3 sacks in this game. Sure. But I'm looking at the bones of next year's offense and what was such a huge weakness for LSU this year, which was coverage on the outside, whether it was man or zone, big plays, completion percentage, just functioning as a defensive back group. That maybe there's some improvement that can go on between the bye week when you told Stamps and Toviano to go play, and then you played 4 games, and then you have 4 weeks. So it's like 2 months of prep for those guys to be the first teamers, to get the reps, and to go out there and put it to practice against Wisconsin. It's a glorified spring game to me, and that's what I'll be looking for as we move forward. We don't have like a ton of time to talk about this bowl game. You look at the rest of this week, and then we have the rest of next week, but then you come back, and we've only got a 3-day week because of Christmas, and then there's the game. So we've only got like 10 days left to talk about this, and we're going to be talking about transfer portal stuff and coaching hires. The schedule drops tomorrow, and we've got, obviously basketball. Like, there's a lot of things that are going to crop up between now and the end of the year, and the last day we have on this station is the 29th before January 1st bowl game. So I figured let's dip our toe in the water. This will be the refrain that I give you most of the next 3 weeks. And I'll be consistent. Like, I would rather LSU go out there in this game against Wisconsin and lose 41-38 with Nussmeier throwing for 381 and 4 scores, and you've lost and you didn't win 10 games and you lost to a Wisconsin team that wasn't that good and your defense still stunk and all this. I would rather that than LSU go out there, Nuss throw 2 picks, get sacked 6 times, he's not getting rid of the ball, and you win a game 28-14 because you ran 2 kicks back. Up 10 wins. No, I'm not there. Give me the stuff that gives me the juice for next year. That's where I am on this bowl game for LSU. It's not the way I was 4 years ago. It is now because the landscape changed. And if you're one of those that hates this new deal, like, I got you. I loved looking forward to bowl games. I'm not going to fake it anymore. I heard T-Bob this morning saying it's important to win 10 games and create the momentum for next year. I've never been on a team, never been on a locker room, and Hester would swear to you I was wrong. But I watched LSU go out there in a Texas Bowl and get beat with a wide receiver at quarterback and then come back the next year and win the West. I can't in good conscience try to connect with you winning a ReliaQuest Bowl with moving into next year. It just, I can't do it. Hey, thanks for watching Hunt on LSU. Before you get out of here, do us a couple of favors. Hit that like button, leave your comments below, and subscribe to the channel for all your Fighting Tiger football talk. See you next time.